Hey everybody, my name is Leslie. I'm on staff here at Bayside, and I just wanted to say thanks for joining us wherever you're watching from, whether you're in the car, on the couch with your family, wherever you're watching from, we're glad that you're here. Jump into those comments, say hi to somebody, and get ready for an amazing message. So I work on our events team and specifically on our breakaway team, which we do camps for thousands of kids in the summer. And what I've noticed, we get about 8,000 kids in the summer, and what I've noticed most is that our culture is making it really, really hard for our kids to love, live, and lead well. But today, we are jumping into a message that you are going to love. We're going to talk about the 7 things straight out of the Bible in ways that you can make an impact on people that you love, whether it's your kids, your family, other people that you love. We're going to jump into that, and I am so excited because our senior founding pastor, Ray Johnston, is so passionate about this. So get excited, get ready, and let's jump into the message.
For better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish, until death do us part.
Message outlines, and I'm going to come out swinging and get right at it. So grab your message outline out, and I want to say this. I want to give you 4 quick things about the message. The first one is this. This is personal. Okay, this message is the title of the message is Raising G-rated Kids in an X-rated World. And one of the reasons this is personal is this: the churches you're in, Bayside churches, wherever you are, Southern California, Northern California, wherever you are, we started 27 years ago because there were 2 suicides of teenagers in Granite Bay, and 4 people began to pray that God would raise up a church that would attract and develop teenagers and help them avoid the heartbreak of that kind of stuff, okay? And 27 years later, we still speak teenager on every single one of our campuses. And so this message, Raising G-rated Kids, this is personal. It's also personal because on every single campus, all of our pastors have kids, all of them. Okay. Matter of fact, let's introduce the campuses and the pastors they go. Okay. First one, from Bayside and Adventure. Here we go. We got the Metcalfs. Okay. Bayside Adventure. Secondly, Bayside of Orange County, the Swainies, and their 2 gorgeous little kids. Okay. Third is this, Bayside at Blue Oaks, the Kane family. And Bayside of Granite Bay's got a couple pastors of the family. First of all, Mark and Erin Clark. And for some reason, this guy's never here. He's in spots like this. The McCourts from Granite Bay and Orange County. And also a guy that seems like he's never here, Kurt Harlow, okay? And then we thought we'd save the best for last. This guy actually pastors 2 of our campuses, and just unbelievable. Check this out. Brian, there we are. Bayside, Folsom, and Santa Rosa. Brian Hopkins. And get this, matter of fact, every campus you can apply, and they're 13 kids, okay? So this one's personal. Secondly, it is critically important. It is the theme of raising G-rated kids in an X-rated world is going to determine the future of everything. If we get this wrong, it leads to heartbreak. If we get this right, it leads to great days for you, your family, our communities, and our country. Would you agree? Okay. The third thing is this. I want to warn you. Okay, here we go. This message series, this message is going to be 7 weeks long. We've ordered lunch and dinner for you on every one of the campuses you're in. They'll be brought in. We'll bring oxygen for some of your husbands. Actually, no, what we're doing is this. This message has got so much content. You're going to feel like taking a drink from a fire hose. However, we're going to overview some things here today during this message. And then what's going to happen is this. Myself and Mark Clark, Jason Kane, the whole bunch of other pastors, Kevin Thompson, we are going to shoot 14 20-minute videos to unpack everything, okay? And this message is gonna be 7 weeks long. You can sign up to get these videos. And here's the deal. If you're a parent, if you're a grandparent, if you're gonna be a parent, or you care about kids and developing people, you can sign up for that. If you're going, how do I sign up for that? It's pretty easy. It's right on the back page there. It says G-Rated Kids Advanced Group. So you're gonna get all this advanced stuff, okay? And all you have to do right now is text parenting to 56316. Okay, and we'll come back to that in a second. It's gonna be 7 weeks long. The other thing I wanna say is this: if you're in every setting, if you're a parent, would you raise your hand? Okay, if you're a grandparent, would you raise your hand? Okay, this is going to be a guilt-free message. Got it, parents? I mean, I'm a dad. I feel guilty all the time. If I'm spending time with one, I'm ignoring the others. You know, I spent most of my life stressed out, like, oh, they got to see, they're going to become an axe murderer, you know, this sort of thing. And it's going to be a guilt-free message. And here's really what I want to say. A lot of you are going, oh no, man, my kids are listening to this. They're going to be, it's like true story. It happened in a church. A 10-year-old boy was with his family in church. So you got your kids there, okay? It was a family in church. They're driving home. And all of a sudden they hear this kid crying in the back seat. And he's kind of muffling his sobs. So he's like, this kid's crying. And they go, son, what's the matter? And he can almost not even talk. And finally they said, tell us what's wrong. And you're never sad. And he said, the pastor said he wanted us to grow up in a godly Christian home, but I want to stay with you guys. It's awesome, okay? Some of you will get that later. This is going to be a guilt-free message. And if you're a parent, put your parents or grandparents, put your hand up one more time. Okay, good. Here's the deal, okay? It always comes with guilt. Why'd they go off the road? Read the book of Genesis. God had 2 perfect kids. Put them in a perfect environment, they still screwed their lives up. So if God couldn't get this right 100%, give yourself a break. Everybody got that? Matter of fact, could we have a round of applause for everybody in every setting that actually is a parent, okay? That'll be the last applause you ever get. Now, I want to start with this, and this is, if you can write this in anywhere on that outline you want, there's no spot for it intentionally, okay? There are 7 storms hitting every kid in America, and if you live in California, some of these are even more intense, okay? There are 7. This week, myself and a couple of our pastors, Kevin Thompson and Mark Clark, are to give you the other 5. All I want to do is highlight 2 of these storms so you can understand how critically tough it is to be a parent. Number 1 is this: premature adulthood and extended adolescence, actually. Okay? And premature adulthood, kids are growing up way too fast. They see things on the internet at age 4. They hear things in elementary school, which is crazy, at age 5 that their grandparents never imagined would have ever happened, okay? And it's all over the news these days, okay? I mean, I'm doing a lot of research. I'm writing a book on this stuff, and I'm doing a bunch of research on this. And the other day, 2 public school teachers in California, 3rd grade teachers, literally said, quote, we stalk students online. And we try to figure out if anybody has any interest in transgender or human sexuality stuff. And if they do, we pursue those students without their parents ever knowing and try to get them into a group. Which means these teachers have turned students into targets and taken the rights of parents to shape their kids' well-being away, okay? This stuff is making things harder these days. Wouldn't you agree? Okay? And the other one is, and another one happened to this, a kid, parents transgendered a kid, 5 years old, kindergarten, kid brought in 2 books, and so the teacher, to try to be helpful, I think probably well-intentioned, read the 2 transgendering books to the class. Kids were traumatized. They went home. Okay, moms were going, my daughter woke up in the middle of the night crying and screaming, afraid she was gonna wake up to become a boy. Who thinks this is a good idea to kindergarten kids? Okay, which basically means this: these things are getting thrown at kids way too early, which is why, true story, somebody told me 2 5-year-olds were out in the backyard. One of the 5-year-olds said to the other 5-year-old, hey, the other day I found a condom on the patio. And the other 5-year-old said, what's a patio? Okay, that's how bad it has gotten. And some of you will get that later too. Okay, number one is premature adulthood. We will unpack this week, Kevin Thompson, Mark Clark, and I. The second one is this, cultural indoctrination. It is exactly what I taught you. Kids today have become a target, okay? And transgendering books are being put in classes and read to kids and stuff like that. And now if you're going, well, can we debate that a little bit? I would just say this. Schools, if they are going to try to shape value systems, should then let every value system have its day. So if you're gonna read books on transgendering and some kid becomes a Christian, then you need to read books on how to become a Christian in school, which we know isn't gonna happen, okay? And schools have moved from education to indoctrination. Okay? And I am writing 3 books. Myself, Kevin Thompson, a whole bunch of us are working on this stuff. We basically went, how do we strengthen parents? How do we help them? I'm writing 3 books. The first one is titled Raising G-Rated Kids in an X-Rated World. Okay? And it'll be 7 storms and 7 strategies to deal with that. The second book is going to be Parenting on Purpose, the 5 things that have to be built into every single kid. And the third book, and all these are gonna be short books and they're gonna be rapid fire. The third book is ultimately what it's really all about. Become the parent your kids wanna be around. Isn't that a great idea? Become the parent your kids wanna be around. And so all I wanna do, and then we're gonna launch into the Bible and some content, is I wanna read you the introductory paragraph to Raising G-Rated Kids. It's gonna go on your screens, and here it is. The last decade has brought a major shift in educational philosophy. The state of California has shifted from educating kids and is now indoctrinating kids. Would you agree? Okay? It's not just this one state where I've lived most of my life and where Carol and I have raised our children and now our grandchildren. Moving out of California, as millions have done, won't solve the problem. Today, cultural indoctrination is a global phenomenon. People shake their heads or shake their fists or move to Tennessee at their screens while watching the news, and they say, it's never been this bad before. But it has. Kidnapped in Jerusalem, taken away from his parents and hauled to Babylon, Daniel and 3 friends experienced Operation Erase and Replace in an attempt to erase his faith values and replace them with secular Babylonian values. That was happening thousands of years ago. Culture was trying to erase their faith values and replace them with secular Babylonian values. Sound familiar? Okay, that was happening in Daniel. And replace him. They threw everything they had at him. They changed Daniel's home. They changed his textbooks. They changed his knowledge base. They changed his diet, changed his menu, changed his clothes, changed his name, but they could not change his heart. Okay? Instead of becoming a victim of that culture, Daniel became a chief influencer of the same culture. Okay? And so the question is, how do you do that? How do you do that? Because no longer, matter of fact, we've got one more thing. Parents, grandparents, teenagers, and anyone who cares about the values and character of today's kids, the best thing we can do is to shift from the failed strategy of preparing the road for the child, and let's prepare this generation for any road they are ever on. Okay? Now, the question is, how do you do that? Okay? First place you look is the Bible. Okay? And I want to give you one of the best things ever penned on the subject of parenting. And this is Moses preparing people to build an entire nation, and he gives some great prescriptions. And check this out. By the way, if this gets too good, no matter what campus you're in, just grab the person next to you. This stuff's incredible, okay? He's gonna prepare these people to live and flourish in a land, and he says this, these are the commands, decrees, and laws the Lord your God directed me to what? Teach you to what? Teach you to observe. Job number 1 is get to know God's word and do what it says. Observe it, okay? And then he says this, in the land that you are crossing the Jordan to possess. And then I love this. He goes, what's the result? So that is a result of this. So that your children and their children after them may fear the Lord your God as long as you live by keeping all his decrees and commands that I give you, and so that you may, I love this, enjoy long life. God's principles are always in your best interest, okay? Now, some of you are going, parents are going, oh no, I don't really know the Bible that much. Ray's kids are probably lucky because I bet they had family devotionals at every dinner. Folks, I sucked at family devotionals. I shouldn't admit this. I tried family devotionals with our kids. I tried them around the table. Every time I tried one, we had 4 young kids, okay? They were all about the same age. They were all loud, rambunctious kids, and we're around the family table. And every time I tried to do a family devotional with my kids, I realized 5 minutes into the segment, I went, shut up! We're talking about the joy of the Lord. Shut up. I mean, I'm just going, this ain't working. So we were terrible at family devotions. Anybody else with me? Come on, put your hand. Anybody else with me? Or you're going, I don't know if I'm good at it or not. Never tried it, okay? Now, what's interesting about this is you're going, so how do you do this? He doesn't say, have a family devotional and bore your kids to death. Here's what he says. I love this. How do you do this? He says, Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Love the Lord your God. First of all, fall in love with God. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength. And then he goes on to say this, and here's the strategy. I love this. These commandments that I give you today are to be, number 1, where? On your hearts. He goes, you want to impact your kids? Start with your heart. Then he says, those commands on your hearts, and then number 2, then you impress them on your children. Well, the question is, how? Do a family devotional, boil the living ties? No, I love this. He goes, talk about them. When you sit at home, that's mealtime, and when you walk along the road, that's drive time, and when you lie down, that's bedtime. And by the way, bedtime's always the best time because no kid wants to go to bed. They'll talk at bedtime. I put my son Mark down one time and he goes, Dad, I'm in the master bedroom. Dad, he goes, I go, yeah, and he goes, I want to get up. I go, stay in bed. 5 minutes later, Dad, oh yeah, and he goes, I'm thirsty. I go, no, you had some water before bed, go to sleep. 5 minutes later, Dad, yeah, Jesus wants me to have a glass of water, okay? Those bedtimes are great times. And then, I love this, when he goes, when you get up, that's get ready time. And then he says, I love what he says about the Bible right here. Check this. He goes, tie them as symbols on your what? Hands, and bind them on your foreheads, okay? Here's hands represent action, foreheads represent thinking. He is saying, man, you're gonna be in great shape when the Word of God controls your action and your thoughts. Make sense? And then he goes, write them on the door frames of your houses. He's just saying, make God's word part of your normal life. And then he goes on to say this. I love this. Whoops. In the future, I love this. When your son asks you, what's the meaning of the stipulations, decrees, and laws the Lord our God has commanded you? Tell him, son, go ask your mother. No. Tell him I love what he says. He doesn't go to verse 5. He says, tell him we were slaves of Pharaoh in Egypt, but the Lord brought us out of Egypt with a mighty, he's ready to go, just tell him what God's doing and done in your own life. Okay, that's what he's saying. Now, how do you build character, convictions into today's generation? I'm gonna rip through these, okay? And I'm gonna rip through these because I don't have a lot of time. And because we are going to give you all of this stuff across 7 weeks in 14 different fast things, okay? But here we go. How do you influence your kids' spiritual development in an oppositional culture? And here you go, you ready? Number 1, start with stability. Number 1 is this, start with stability, okay? Why is that a big deal? And I'm gonna give all of you a mini adolescent development course that'll explain why kids like they act like, why junior hires act like they do, and why teenagers act like they do, okay? And here it is. All kids go through 3 developmental stages. I've taught this at university campuses. I taught a course on this in a graduate school in Chicago. Stephen Glenn, I think, was the smartest adolescent development expert in history. And he basically said, human development happens in 3 stages. How many stages? 3. Adventure, how many stages? Good. Okay, 3 stages. And the first stage is this. It's a time of discovery. The first stage is a time of discovery, okay? And that is roughly about birth to about age 5 or 6 or so, okay? And now, anybody got kids that age? Anywhere studies? Yeah, you go, what are they discovering? Everything. Fingers, toes, mom, dad, the world, rapid, amazing things happen in 0 to 5. They're in a time of discovery. Then, about age 7 or 8 to about age 9 or 10 or maybe 11, they go from discovery to the second phase of human development. Y'all with me? Here we go. Second phase is this, it's testing. Everybody going, yep, okay? It's testing. I mean, now, they're testing. What happens if I ride my bike off the roof? What happens if you're in the hospital, kids this age, you're in the hospital with them all the time, okay? Matter of fact, we're about to book our own room at the hospital, okay? And they're testing. Now, the question is this. They spend 5 to 6 years discovering, what are they testing? They're testing what they previously discovered. What works, what doesn't, who's me, who's not me. And then it's awesome. About age 10 or so, they move into the third and final stage of human development. And this is awesome, okay? Age 10 or so, they draw conclusions. Discovery, testing, and they draw conclusions. And that's why the most secure people in the world are 10 years old. The happiest people in the world, they're all 10 years old, okay? Why? They've arrived at full childhood. It's Friday night. They don't have a date. They don't care. They're 10, okay? And they're the happiest people in the world until one tragic thing happens. Bingo. Puberty hits, and whammo, wipes the entire thing out. And here's what happens. They come swinging into adolescence on the trapeze of childhood. Puberty hits, they let that go. Can they become an instant adult? No, and this is huge. They have to go through the same 3 stages to become a full adult that they did to arrive at full childhood, okay? And so it goes like this. About ages 11 to 13, they go back into a time of discovery, okay? It's middle school. It's junior high. That's why they're so up, down, up, down, up, down. They're discovering. Now, do you think I'm cool? Do you think I'm cool? Do you think I'm cool? Anybody want to go back to junior high and relive that? It's crazy. I mean, that's why they have a boyfriend at breakfast, break up at lunch, new one by dinner, okay? I mean, it's out there. I actually love this age group, okay? Junior high was one of my favorite things I ever did, okay? Because you can get them excited. They'll run through a wall. You got to go first, but then they'll follow you, okay? And then, so they're in a time of discovery, up, down, very insecure. Then, about age 14 or so, to about age 18, they go from discovery to a time of testing. Anybody remember those? Going through those? What are they testing? Oh, good way. You say everything. God, rules, limits. Dad says, be home at midnight. Kid comes home Tuesday, just to test what's gonna happen, okay? And then they go through this time of testing. And by the way, you know the problem with the church? We'll come back to this in a minute. The problem with the Christian church has been this: God has wired them to test. Our message to them is, don't test. We should be shaping what they test. Okay, so they test things that'll lead them in good directions instead of testing things that'll wreck the rest of their life. Make sense? Okay, we'll do a whole session on that in these 14 things we're gonna release. And then about age 19 or 30, they go through a time of conclusions. Now, why is this such a big thing? A teenager, okay, puberty hits, they let go of the childhood trapeze. They can't reach the adult trapeze yet. So what's a good definition of most teenagers? Their feet are firmly planted in midair with nothing to grab onto for security and starving for a solid foundation. Makes sense? Number 1, start with stability, okay? Second essential is this, okay? Cultivate close connection. The closer you are to your kids, the greater your potential for impact, okay? And I just want to mention this, and then we'll do an entire session on this in the videos we're going to release. It's the myth of quality time. The myth of quality time. Cornell University just released a study. The average father in America spends 37 seconds a day talking to his kids. That is not gonna have much of an impact. And here's what I wanna say. It's the myth of quality time. And all of your kids, they have an emotional bank account. And when you affirm them, spend time with them, and build into them, all of a sudden they're going, man, I got this is awesome. I got this emotional bank account, and it's full. When you have to discipline or correct or whatever, you're making a withdrawal. And the real problem is this, man. When you're making withdrawals and there's nothing in the bank account, then you get bitter, angry, resentful, rebellious kids, okay? And here, I'm gonna give you a principle. Rules without relationship lead to rebellion. Rules without relationship lead to rebellion. In other words, correction without connection can be destructive, okay? And this week we're gonna release, this week or next week, we're gonna release a video of kind of, you're pretty much going, how do I build closer connection to my kids, okay? There's 3 things, they all start with A, okay? And I'm gonna throw them up here and then we'll unpack these, okay? The 3 things that start with A, number 1 is this, affection. Number 1 is affection, okay? And we'll come back to that later, affection. Second one is affirmation. Stephen Glenn, this is genius. Stephen Glenn said, any positive movement in the right direction received with celebration will produce more movement in the same direction. That's good, isn't it? Okay, that is really good. And the third one is this, apologize when you're wrong. Now, we'll do an entire thing on how to build those things in, but those are huge. For example, the apology thing, evidently, I'm good at because I got a lot to apologize for all the time. And all 4 of our kids were in our minivan, and we lived in Folsom, planted Granite Bay. It was Super Bowl Sunday. We came over to Granite Bay. I preached a zillion times, I don't know, 5 or 6 times, back at the high school, went to a Super Bowl party because it was Super Bowl Sunday. And then it's about 8:30 at night. I'm dead tired, and I'm driving across the Folsom Dam Road, which is appropriately named. And I'm driving across this road, and I never see this thing happen. I hit a pothole going about 45 miles an hour. It's an 18-inch deep pothole. Front left tire explodes, back left tire explodes. It's everything I can do to keep this thing from crashing. I pull into the overlook they have there, and I totally lose it. I'm so tired, I'm grouchy, and I just said, the government boneheads, why can't they fix this road? And I go off on that, I call AAA, get out of here, pick me up. I get out of the car, slam the door. All that happens, this is embarrassing. It's like being Mark Clark. Disaster. All this happens in like a minute and a half, okay? So did any of you have a short fuse, it goes off, then you feel like an idiot? Okay, God bless all of you. Metcalf. And so I go over to Folsom Lake, I apologize to God. My son Mark, who at that point, I think 7 or something, he comes walking up next to me. And I said, hey son, he goes, Dad, how you doing? I said, hey, I want to apologize to you. I'm really sorry. I shouldn't lose my cool like that. That's not the kind of example that's not the kind of Christian I want to be. It's not the kind of dad I want to be. I'm sorry. Mark looks right at me and says, you know, Dad, things like this happen. I'm going, thanks. Maybe you can disciple me later. And then I go back to the car I open the door and I hop in, and then Mark's still out by the lake. And so I said to Carol, hey, I just apologized to Mark. First of all, I apologized to Carol. And I said, honey, I acted like a fool. She agreed and then forgave me. And then I said, I apologized to Mark. And Carol said, oh, that's a good thing. And I said, why? Because she said, the second you got out of the car, he leaned forward and said, you know, Dad doesn't handle this kind of thing well, does he? Okay, before you climb all over my back, okay, raise your hand if you have some stuff you don't handle well, okay? And then apologize when you're wrong, because then your kids are gonna go, wow, if God can change my parents, then God can change me when I need it, okay? The number 1, cultivate close connection. We'll dive into that the next couple weeks on the videos. Number 3 is this, provide a motivational environment. Provide a motivational environment, okay? I love this verse. It is the single best thing ever written in the English language on parenting. And here it is. Behold, children are a gift from the Lord like what? Arrows, okay? So if you got notes there, circle over, like arrows in the hands of a warrior, the children born on one's youth, okay? And now, that to me is genius. Every single thing you need to know about parenting and motivation is right there. Because it says this, your kids are like arrows. So what do you do with them? Yeah, shoot them. Yeah, right. Okay, got teenagers. No, when you do an arrow, write these down, okay? Number 3. Number 1 is you pull it back, okay? You pull it back, okay? But before you do that, what do? Number 1 is you aim, so you provide direction. First thing you do is this, you provide direction. Okay? Then, once you have it aimed, I provide direction, then what do? Pull it back, which is I provide motivation. And after I've aimed and pulled it back, then what do? Bingo, release, okay? I release, which means that's parenting 101, okay? Number 1, I provide direction, then I provide motivation, and then I release. So why is it that so many parents are going, I provided direction, and when I let them go, they didn't go the direction I prayed and hoped they would go? Okay? And when you unpack that a little bit, most parents are great at 2 of the 3. Christian parents, almost all of them are great at what? Direction. We have a 66 book of extra directions nobody else has, okay? I mean, we're direction. And the problem is when you become a teenager, we just increase the volume of the directions, okay? And it doesn't work, okay? We're also good at release because at some point they're leaving or you're kicking them out, one of the 2, okay? The problem is this, we're great at those 2 things. However, people are only going to go the direction that's in their best interest if they are motivated to go in that direction. Make sense? And so on your notes, and you can keep these because we will unpack these in the video, on your notes, okay, are 4 things to make sure these are 4 motivation killers, okay? And matter of fact, you want to write in your notes here? Happiness, full outline. I'll give them to you and then we'll unpack them in the video. Do not lose your cool. Number 2 is do not let them intimidate you. Okay. Number 3 is do not rescue them from consequences. People have got to figure out actions have consequences, and if you rescue them from that, you produce a really bad case kid for the future. And the last one is this, do not delay living until they turn age 18. I know a lot of parents are going, oh, kids just got to be 14. She's a girl. We're going to go into full Amish mode, okay? And I'm going to become an on-task parent, and we are going to be as uptight and miserable as it takes so that they will be attracted to our faith and values. This just does not work, okay? We will unpack this later because it is a really important thing is to figure out how to become a parent that motivates kids. How do you build internal motivation into kids, okay? Number 4 is this. How do you produce healthy kids in an environment that's hard? Number 4 is this. Give them heavy doses of encouragement. Give them heavy doses of encouragement. Why is that a big deal? I'm going to put this on the screen, okay? Here are 2 circles, a negative self-image cycle and an inferiority cycle. And you will see they both spin and they both spin down, okay? And Kevin Thompson and I are going to do a deep dive on this in about 3 weeks, okay? And we're going to unpack this because here's the deal. When a kid has a low self-image and their parents don't give them heavy doses of encouragement, what happens is they become susceptible to 5 things. And here they are, okay? Peer pressure, high-risk behavior, substance abuse, sexual experimentation, and suicide all have root causes in low self-esteem, okay? And usually that's because they haven't, we will unpack that in depth. How do you build a kid with strong self-esteem? How do you help somebody recover from that sort of thing? This is a really big deal. That'll be on thing. Everybody with me, by the way, in every one of your settings? Okay, good. I know it's like taking a drink from a fire hose. I warned you. Here we go. Number 5, okay? Parent with a plan. Parent with a plan. And this is an entire second book I'm writing. We will unpack each one of these things, but let me give it to you, okay? If you're looking at this thing, you go and there's 5 things. These 5 things, if you're gonna raise, all of us are going, I just wanna raise great people. What are the characteristics of a great person? These 5 things. These are what Jesus built into the disciples. This is what Paul built into Timothy. If you want to take a look at Carol and I, these are the things we have prayed for our kids for the last 3 decades. We're praying these for our grandkids now. These are the things we intentionally tried to build into our kids because it's generally better if you parent with a plan. And the first one is this: confidence, which is high self-esteem, which then drives them into good behaviors and rescues them from other things. Second one is what? Convictions, okay? Second one is convictions. Now, convictions are inner values and inner beliefs, okay? Those are values. Now, we're gonna do a whole session on how do you build values into today's generation, okay? The third one is what? Character, okay? Character is values lived out. If we were to talk to you and say, what are you really about? You're going, I just want to raise a kid with character. The problem is this: the church has been great at helping kids act like they have character around church, but not on Friday, Saturday night, or when they leave the house. It's a whole different ballgame. Why? Because convictions are the foundation for character. Now, a lot of Christians, though, they stop right there. What are you trying to do? I want to build a kid who's confident, convictions, character, I'm done, okay? Which is why there's so many mean Christians. The fourth one is compassion, and the fifth one is competence, so they develop skills, get a job, and support all of us parents. Okay? Now, we will walk through how do you develop each one of those things in the videos that we're gonna send you if you sign up for them. Number six is this: expose your kids to significant examples and significant events. Expose them to significant examples and significant experiences and events. I'll give you some examples. I have talked to more parents who are going, when my kid was 10, they looked great. When they were 18, it was a whole different ballgame. What happened? I was a good example. When they're young, they need examples. When they get to be teenagers, they need jaw-dropping, mind-blowing events, okay? And because those events shape them and shake them up, okay? For example, if you're a kid around here, look at these pictures, okay? We have Breakaway. Every one of those hands raised is a kid becoming a Christian right at Breakaway, okay? Isn't that cool? Here's another one, Vertigo. This is a middle school packed event that is mind-blowing for every kid there. Let me give you another one. Here's Thrive Unleashed. That is an actual conference where the kids rush the stage. All of those are teenagers. They're all worshiping. It's a Friday night. Where would you rather have them on Friday night? Okay? And this last one, here it is, Mexicali, Mexico. Okay? Teenagers going down, changing the world. I know more people. I know a guy who's, I'll tell you this story on the videos, but this kid was like, came up to me and said, I got to get rid of this, handed me this huge stash of marijuana. I did not inhale. I took this kid over to the outhouse, handed it back to him and said, throw him down in the baños, okay? He did that, and then I prayed with he and his 2 friends, and I watched him walk back. He goes, I gotta let go of this stuff. This is a wreck of my life. I watched him walk back, and it's about 11 o'clock, 11:30 at night. The moon's hitting this kid in the background, and I thought, that kid just saved himself and his parents from decades of heartbreak and heartache. Wouldn't you agree? Why? Because he went to a high impact event where God could get a hold of his heart, okay? And expose them to significant experiences. And the last one is this, and this is good news for all of us, and here's, point them to the future. Point them to the future. I love these verses. Check the verses on there. My son, your sins are forgiven. Words of Jesus. Okay? I love this next one. Neither do I condemn you. God, there's a lot of condemning Christians that aren't like Jesus. Neither do I condemn you. Go and leave your life of sin. You can have a brand new thing. I am telling you this story, if I can do this without crying, with my son Mark's permission. Okay? I also pay my kids when I use the story about it. My son Mark, our oldest son, went to Azusa Pacific University and then flunked out. And I was bummed. I'm on the board there. I mean, it was just, I was bummed. He was bummed. And then he came home. And when he came home, I thought, this conversation is huge. And so he drove home, brought his stuff, came in the bedroom. He and Carol and I laid on the bed, and I put a huge sheet of paper on that. And I drew a circle like this. And I put Mark in the middle, and then I drew all the stuff. I drew 18 different segments around that sheet of paper. And then I started writing them. I said, Mark, I want to tell you how I feel about this. Mom, Dad, I put all of his brothers and sisters in there, and I put friends, God, music. I filled out everything, and one of them, I put school. I drew another circle around here. I said, let me give you the grade for each one. You and Mom, great relationship, A. You and me, man, you're the rock star son. A, dang. A in this, your friends are amazing. You're one of the best friends anybody's ever had. A, school. F. And I just looked at him and said, on 17 of 18 areas, you're getting an A. I said, you are like 17 for 18, man. This is like a 3.9 GPA. This is like an SAT score of 750. I said, you are killing it. You are batting 17 for 18. Yeah, school, that's an F. Please, let's just keep it in perspective. You're amazing. And because what I realized is this, he walked into that room and I thought, he's gonna fail occasionally, don't we all? He's gonna screw up. So do I, so do you. He's gonna screw up. If he self-identifies as a screw up, that's fatal. So I just looked at him and said, that's not like you. But 17 of 18 of these things, I couldn't be prouder to be your dad. Now let's get on with your future, man. And he's killing it. He's married, amazing grandson, 2 jobs. This internet thing's blown up. And here's what I want to say. You're going to be failure-focused or you are going to be faith-focused. You're going to be one of the two. You are going to be a person that's failure-focused, so you're always looking back with blame or guilt. Or you're going to be a person that's faith-focused, which means you're looking forward to what God's got next. And to close this out, I just want to say this. I was raised in a home my dad was an alcoholic, rageaholic. My mom was an alcoholic. I had 2 younger sisters. My home on some nights would be so insane. Things are getting broken, thrown, screamed. It's 1:30 in the morning. My sisters would come running, screaming into my room. And when they were 7 and 8, and I would take the screen off and I would take them out and we'd be walking the streets at 1:30 in the morning, 2:30 in the morning until it was safe to get back through the window, sneak them back into their rooms. Okay? That's the home I grew up in. 140 years, everybody's divorced. Okay? And what I discovered is I became a Christian. I met Jesus at age 18. And what I want to say to you is, no matter what your background is, no matter who your parents were, no matter what your situation is, your past will never stop God from doing something incredible in your future. I will be grateful to God for Carol and I's 38 years of marriage so far. Okay, for our kids and our grandkids, and you all are the best church family any pastor's ever had. And I am grateful to God. Your past will not stop God from doing something great in your future. And I want to say thank you for listening. Here's the deal. On the back of this, I'm still crying. On the back of this, take your phone out text the word parenting to 56316 or scan that QR code. You will get advanced material. As we write this book, you'll get advanced copies of everything we do. You'll get 14 videos delivered by myself, Mark Clark, and some of our other pastors in the next 7 weeks, two a week, and we hope to equip you well. So we're gonna go back to your campus pastors. Thanks so much. We love you guys. God bless.
Hey guys, Pastor Mark here, one of the senior pastors around here. So glad that you are actually part of Bayside Online. You really are part of our family. We have grown over the last couple of years online a ton, and we really do consider you as part of our church family. So what that means is make sure you subscribe and share this, it's great. But also get in a community group, start watching the Bible study, start being engaged, even give. One of the ways that we can actually do online church and have this global community and even do the ministry of our campuses is by people partnering with us in the gospel, as Paul talks about in Philippians chapter 1. And that means by your resources, financially, there are people all over the world getting blessed through what we do at Bayside. And so obviously part of that is giving and using and stewarding that for the glory of God. So we're super thankful if you do that. We'd love you to start doing that, and just super thankful you're part of our church. So glad you're with us. Make sure that you let us know you're watching and part of this, because we want to get in touch with you and thank you and serve you any way we can. Anyway, thanks guys, and we will see you next week.